Hey everybody, hope y'all are having a great day. I actually wanted to pop in today and share a little story about how I got started basically. I think the number one question that I'm asked at photo shoots is how long have you been a photographer? How did you get into this? How did you start? Like what people want to know. And so I thought that I would just like share that today. Because I definitely wasn't always a photographer. I started working in real estate in San Francisco. I was leasing apartments and working in property management. And I always wanted to do something creative and I always wanted to work for myself. But I didn't know like what that looked like or specifically what I wanted to do. I had taken some photography classes in high school and college. Not really like the technical side of things, but more kind of like studying the art of it. Although I did take a technical class in high school, and my teacher told me that I would be better off as an underwater basket weaver than a photographer. Look where I am now. And, but, so anyways, I always loved photography. It was always my favorite art form. But I had no idea that there was an industry behind it or that there was any real need for it. And so I just kind of was still playing around with it, working my full-time job, and kind of just trying to figure out how I could get a job in some kind of creative field, slash work for myself. And I made friends with a girl who was a full-time wedding photographer. And I was blown away that that was her job and that she didn't go to work every day. And she let me tag along to one of her weddings as a third shooter. So she didn't want any of my photos. They were not good. But she kind of took me under her wing and let me, get the behind the scenes and kind of learn the ropes of what that all looked like. And I was just blown away. I mean, I was like, oh my God, like people pay for photos. And especially, I mean, even more so now with obviously Instagram and the whole social media world that we live in, like imagery is just so important to so many people. But it was just a huge wake up call for me. And I was like, wow, like people will pay for this. So I did not have a professional camera. I had like a Canon Rebel, which is not professional grade at all. But it was good enough for me to learn on. So thank God for Google and YouTube. And I basically just started teaching myself how to use my camera, and watched 1,000 videos. And if I couldn't figure something out, I just looked it up, and just started teaching myself, how to do it basically. And, got a few friends to agree to let me take their maternity and their family photos. And that was huge and gave me the practice of like working with clients and posing people and that kind of thing. And then when I got my first like real job with someone who was not my friend, and I was being paid to be there, I, to be honest, still didn't own a professional camera. I was renting Canon Mark IIIs at the time, and just anytime I had a job, I would rent one and then I would go return it. And yeah, I just taught myself how to do it, and I basically just said yes to anything that came my way, because I knew that I would figure it out in time before that photo shoot. So people would be like, oh, have you shot in a studio before? Yep. Have you worked with models before? Yep. And just basically completely faked it. But I put everything that I had into learning how to do these things. I put my social life on hold for probably a good year, and I would be at home Friday, Saturday nights, like editing photos, photographing things in my small studio apartment, just learning how to use my camera settings. And, it was like a year of putting my nose down, and now it's obviously, so worth it. It changed my life. But yeah, so that's kind of like how it started. And then from there, I just kept getting jobs and, started posting my work on social media and the most important thing I think I did was I started telling people that I was a photographer before I was actually a photographer. I started telling people I was a photographer when I still had a 9-to-5 job. I started telling people I was a photographer before I owned a camera. I was telling people I was a photographer when I didn't have a car. And that actually got me a lot of jobs because people would just refer me to clients. And it was just that kind of like self-confidence that I put out there to people, even though I had absolutely like no basis for it, that I think made a big difference. So if anyone out there is thinking of, going after something or making a change, I think it's like all about just putting it out there to everyone and kind of jumping before you're ready. And so, yeah, and now, I can't even tell you how much I love what I do, and I get to work with like cool people and brands and companies, and no 2 days are the same, and that's how I like it. And I get to be creative and push myself all the time, which is something that's like important to me. So yeah, I just wanted to share that with you guys, and I hope it's helpful to someone. And just get out there and keep creating and do your thing, and good luck to everybody. Okay, thanks.